Welcome back to The Horizon. I'm your host, Anneliese Crumley, and on today's episode, we're going to be delving into the Red Roaster and its After Hours program. I am here with Natalie Cox, the founder and creator of the Red Roaster After Hours, which, for those of you who don't know, is an after-hour event that happens on the Saturdays in the summer here at the Red Roaster, a coffee shop in downtown Madison, Indiana, that serves alcohol beverages as well as live music, and it's an overall really fun time for people. Would you like to just give your kind of description of how you view the after hours?
Well, the after hours program was really brought in to give people a more open creative space. While there is a lot of music in Madison already, we tend to see a lot of the same bands playing over and over again, playing a lot of the same covers. So I really wanted to bring in different creatives and artists of Madison and showcase them for their original sound and not the sound that everybody thinks they want to hear.
I completely understand that. I feel like every time I've walked around down here, it's like I hear the same songs and stuff, but then I wasn't able to come to any of the after hours, but seeing them from videos and stuff, I could definitely tell that it was very much a different kind of live music scene than what Madison is typically used to. So I think that's really great and a new wave of music. How did you connect with the performers that you brought in?
A lot of them were just Madison locals. A lot of them do already play in town. Just unfortunately, they have to play at the bars where they have to play the same covers to bring in the crowds. They were a lot of locals, so it was pretty easy to reach out to them. And they were all like very cooperative, very like excited about the venture that we were taking as well. So everyone was pretty helpful.
Would you describe the after hours program, now that it's ended for the summer, would you describe it as a success?
I think along the way we lost a little bit of sight of what the main goal was. Being the first trial run, there's going to be some hiccups and errors, so it was not a failure, but more of a lesson.
I understand what you mean by that. You know, I don't think anybody is expected to be perfect on their first try, especially given that this is just like a totally new thing to Madison in general and the Red Roaster. I mean, we've had live music here before, but never any kind of like series of events or anything like that. And it's always been very informal. And I feel like this was kind of the first real kind of setup thing that the Roaster has really done, especially given that you kind of ran the entire thing by yourself. I think success can be described in different ways to different people, so I think maybe it could be seen as both success and a lesson. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. What was the attendance like?
We had pretty good attendance. It was a lot of our regulars, a lot of our regular customers and supporters. You know, with the individual players, you know, we would see their families come in and out, which was really nice to see them have that support. We were hoping to be able to bring in a little more of the tourists. We were hoping there would still be some people out and about during the time, but it just kind of seemed to slow down here. So it was really just a lot of people that we had reached out to that are advertising or just by word of mouth.
So it didn't attract much of the tourist population?
No, it did not.
Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of the tourists come to Madison for a specific event or a specific reason, and there's not a lot of exploration beyond that. You know, there are some tourist cities where they have the music culture, and that's what you go there to do, is walk from venue to venue and go see show to show, and we're just not really quite there yet.
Is that something you want to see Madison become?
Yeah, so I've been talking to a lot of the music producers, coordinators in Madison, and that is something that we would like to achieve, to make this Indiana's music city. I think that's really the culture that we need to try to lean into.
What ways are you thinking of taking steps to achieve that?
Me and a lot of other people in Madison are trying to reach out to more diverse groups of people, artists, to bring in different genres, to support different communities, cultures within the community. So we're going to be reaching out to some people, you know, in Louisville that are just playing different genres of music, or we might be reaching out to some of the locals, just like in the African American community or the Mexican community, and trying to support them and their culture and bring their music to some of the venues around here as well. We're also trying to get kids a lot more involved, so we're trying to open up more venues and spaces where it is accessible to them.
Back to the after hours shows themselves, what goes into producing one of those shows?
It's really just a lot of setup. Once you get into the show, it's super easy, but I curated the specialty cocktail menu, so for each event we had a different cocktail that I found the recipe for and handcrafted myself, just coordinating with the artists, making sure that they have what they need, making sure that they can be here on time, and getting them set up with the music equipment that they need. So we had to go through and figure out purchasing for all of the music equipment, signage, advertising, marketing, out the ass.
Yeah.
A lot of social media work that I'm not the most fond of, but it's super important for shows down here. It seems to be what a lot of people rely on, even though we had our stuff in Visit Madison and in the paper and on the radio. You still didn't really get that traction unless you were on social media.
It's so frustrating. I completely understand you on that with just you want to be able to advertise these things in a normal traditional manner, but then you have to use social media, something that is so intertwined in all of our lives. And I think a lot of people don't want to deal with that, especially with these kinds of scenes. I feel like a lot of people don't want to use social media, but feel forced to. So, and you did all of that yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
And was that a major learning curve for you?
I took business classes in college, so a lot of this stuff just already comes easy to me, and I've been working in the restaurant business for a really long time, and I've been down here in Madison for 2 or 3 years, so it was kind of just knowing the people and the culture that already exists here and working with that. That was the biggest curve, but as far as the business end of things go, it just comes pretty naturally.
Smart cookie. So then, what are your future plans for the after hours?
To be determined.
Be determined. Is it something you would hope to do again?
It's something we would like to do occasionally, I think. I don't think it will ever be as consistent as it was. Also, we are trying to support the music community as a whole in Madison, so we don't really want to keep that consistent competition like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is something that happens, if it is something that happens in the future, there will definitely be some adjustments made to the schedule.
What are kind of your main inspirations and, kind of major points in your life do you think that brought you here?
What really brought me to Madison was working in my first coffee shop. About 5 years ago, I worked down at GH, which is Analog Coffee now, and I just really liked the community and the vibe down here, I guess. I worked with a lot of really great people down there, and they kind of sold me on the idea of Madison. I didn't really make it back down here until a couple years later when I started working for the Red Pepper Incorporated. And now I can never say I'll be with the Reds forever. No. But I didn't get super well versed into the community until they moved me down here to the roaster. I really got to know a lot of people in the music scene in the last couple of years, being here at the coffee shop, and especially after meeting Jake Bonnerhide and being introduced to her singer-songwriter sessions. That was kind of a big inspiration for me, was seeing her own her little building downtown and have her barbershop and just having live music shows in it because she wanted to, not because she was trying to make money or anything, just because that's it's the love for music that she has and the sense of community that she has. That was a really big inspiration for me. And she has helped me a lot in trying to get more involved in music community.
Natalie, I think you are such an inspiration, and I think there are a lot of great things coming for you, and I'm so excited to see what you do. And I think that everyone watching it will be super excited to see where you go from here. And I'm so excited that we can share your story. Will we be seeing an increase in the rock scene here? That's a personal question.
I hope so. It's something that I've thought about a lot. Like when I was in high school, we all had like little punk bands, and there was like punk shows at lunchtime, and we put on little punk shows at the local theater a couple times, and it's something that I would like to believe is still like, I'd like to believe that punk is still alive, but we just kind of have to see how it goes.
The folks in New Albany are going to love that. I'll bring them all down here, or up here. It's north.